Freezers are a modern-day miracle. They help us store leftovers, save time, and prevent food waste. But just because something can be frozen doesn't always mean it should be. And reheating the wrong frozen foods can quietly put your health at risk, especially for older adults. As we age, our digestive systems become more sensitive, and our immune defenses may not work as quickly or strongly as they once did. That means food safety, nutrient quality, and digestive comfort matter more than ever. And yet, many people unknowingly reheat frozen meals that are either unsafe, nutritionally depleted, or downright harmful, all in the name of convenience. Some foods change structurally when frozen, forming compounds that are harder to digest. Others lose key nutrients during reheating. And some may even become breeding grounds for bacteria if they weren't stored or thawed properly. These changes aren't always visible or obvious, but they can lead to bloating, nausea, food poisoning, or nutrient loss that slowly adds up. On the flip side, there are certain meals and ingredients that actually do better when batch cooked and frozen, making your life easier, your nutrition stronger, and your daily routines more relaxed. In today's video, we'll break down 7 frozen foods you should never reheat, especially if you're over 50 and want to protect your digestion, energy, and long-term wellness. Then, we'll pivot to 4 kinds of meals that are ideal for freezing and reheating. The kind that save time without sacrificing taste, texture, or safety. Because aging well isn't just about what you eat, it's about how you store it, reheat it, and use food as a tool to support your body, not stress it. So if you've ever pulled a forgotten container from the freezer and wondered, is this still good? Or if reheated meals leave you feeling heavy or queasy, this video is for you. Let's clear up the confusion and help you stock your freezer the smart way, one meal at a time. Frozen food number 1. You should never reheat cooked rice. It's one of the most common leftovers in any kitchen, easy to store, easy to reheat, and often served as a base for dozens of meals. But here's the surprising truth. Reheating previously frozen cooked rice can be risky, especially for seniors, and it's one of the most misunderstood food safety hazards in home kitchens. The issue isn't the rice itself, it's what can grow on it. Rice, especially white or jasmine varieties, often contains spores of a bacteria called Bacillus cereus. These spores can survive cooking, and if the rice is left to cool too slowly or sits at room temperature for too long before freezing, those spores can multiply into bacteria that produce toxins resistant to heat. That means even after reheating, the toxins remain, and can lead to food poisoning symptoms like nausea, vomiting, or cramping within hours. For older adults with weakened digestion or immune systems, this risk is especially serious. What might be a mild upset stomach for a younger person could turn into several days of discomfort, or worse, for a senior. But it's not just about foodborne illness. Frozen and reheated rice also loses much of its nutritional value. The texture often becomes dry and grainy, and its resistant starch, which supports gut health and slows blood sugar spikes, is broken down during reheating. What's left is a meal that's harder to digest, less satisfying, and nutritionally weaker than when it was freshly cooked. If you do need to store rice, the safest approach is to cool it quickly, place it in an airtight container, and store it in the fridge, not the freezer, for no more than 1 day. And if you do reheat it, make sure it's steaming hot all the way through. Never reheat it more than once, and if there's any doubt, it's better to toss it. A smarter option? Cook rice fresh in smaller portions, or switch to grains that freeze and reheat better, like quinoa or farro. They retain texture and nutrients more effectively, and they're less likely to harbor dangerous bacteria. So while rice may be a staple, reheating it from frozen can quietly compromise both your safety and your well-being. When it comes to leftovers, some things just aren't worth the risk, especially when the fix is as simple as cooking a fresh, single portion. Frozen food number 2. You should never reheat. Leafy greens like spinach or kale. They may be packed with nutrients when fresh, but once frozen and reheated, leafy greens like spinach and kale can quietly become more harmful than helpful, particularly for older adults who are managing blood pressure, kidney function, or certain medications. The problem lies in a natural compound found in these greens called nitrates. While nitrates themselves aren't dangerous, in fact, they have benefits like supporting circulation and heart health. When leafy greens are cooked, cooled, frozen, and then reheated, those nitrates can undergo a transformation. They can convert into nitrites, and in certain conditions, into nitrosamines, which are compounds linked to increased cancer risk and oxidative stress in the body. For seniors, this becomes even more important. Age-related changes in kidney function mean your body is less efficient at processing excess compounds, and increased nitrite levels can interfere with oxygen delivery in the blood, especially for those with cardiovascular concerns. And for anyone taking blood thinners or managing iron levels, these changes can create digestive discomfort, fatigue, or complications with medication. Texture is another issue. When spinach or kale is frozen after being cooked, the water inside the leaves expands, damaging the cell walls. Upon reheating, they become mushy, bitter, and far less appetizing. More importantly, key nutrients like vitamin C, folate, and some antioxidants degrade significantly during freezing and reheating, making that healthy green dish far less beneficial than it appears. So what's the better approach? If you want to store cooked greens, refrigerate them and eat within 24 hours. Never freeze and reheat. Or better yet, use frozen raw spinach or kale in smoothies, soups, or stir-fries, where it cooks fresh from frozen without needing to be reheated after cooking. Greens are powerful allies in senior nutrition, but they're also delicate. Their health benefits are best preserved with fresh use or minimal processing, not through repeated heat cycles. So the next time you prepare sautéed spinach or kale, enjoy it while it's fresh, and skip the temptation to save it for another day. Frozen food number 3. You should never reheat. Eggs and egg-based dishes. Eggs are one of the most versatile and nutritious foods out there, offering high-quality protein, essential fats, and vitamins like B12 and D. But while they're excellent freshly cooked, reheating frozen eggs or egg-based meals can turn them into a digestive nightmare and in some cases a safety concern, especially for seniors. When eggs are cooked and then frozen, their structure changes. The proteins tighten and lose moisture, causing the texture to become rubbery, dry, and difficult to chew. But the real concern lies beyond taste. Frozen and reheated eggs can become harder to digest, particularly for older adults with reduced stomach acid or slower digestive motility. This can lead to bloating, gas, or lingering discomfort that's often mistaken for a sensitivity or something else. It's not just plain scrambled eggs that pose a problem. Casseroles, quiches, frittatas, and egg sandwiches, once frozen and reheated, may contain pockets of uneven temperature, allowing bacteria to survive if not fully heated through. These dishes often combine eggs with cheese, meats, or vegetables, which further complicates reheating and can increase the risk of spoilage or bacterial growth if improperly stored. And if you're relying on eggs for their nutrients, freezing and reheating won't help. Vitamins like B12 and folate, along with delicate fats in the yolk, degrade significantly when exposed to repeated temperature shifts. What starts as a powerhouse of nutrition can end up as a dense, nutrient-depleted lump that offers more trouble than benefit. For seniors who need every bite to count, this is especially important. The goal is to protect your digestion, preserve nutrients, and avoid risky reheating methods that put strain on an aging system. The better option? Cook eggs fresh in small portions. Hard-boiled eggs keep well in the fridge for up to a week and are easy to grab and go. Scrambled eggs take just minutes to prepare. If you enjoy egg dishes, make them in small batches and eat them within a couple of days. Don't freeze and reheat. Eggs are incredible when handled properly, but once frozen and reheated, they lose their value fast. Keep them fresh, keep them simple, and let your body enjoy the full benefit they were meant to deliver. Frozen food number 4. You should never reheat fried foods. They're crispy, comforting, and undeniably delicious when fresh. But once frozen and reheated, fried foods become one of the worst offenders in both texture and health impact, especially for seniors. What was once golden and crunchy becomes soggy, greasy, and hard to digest, turning a treat into a potential health burden. When fried foods are reheated after freezing, whether it's breaded chicken, fries, tempura, or even fried fish, the oil used in the initial cooking undergoes a dangerous transformation. During the first round of frying, oils are heated to high temperatures, which already begins to degrade them. But when the same fried food is frozen and then reheated, those degraded oils break down even further, releasing oxidized fats and potentially harmful compounds that increase inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. This is particularly concerning for seniors, as inflammation is already a key driver in many age-related conditions, such as heart disease, arthritis, and cognitive decline. Reintroducing oxidized oils through reheated fried foods only adds fuel to the fire, literally and figuratively. On top of that, the texture of fried foods after freezing and reheating is usually disappointing. The crispiness turns limp, the coating often separates from the food, and the inside can become dry or rubbery. The visual and textural appeal is lost, which often leads to overeating without satisfaction, a habit that can quietly lead to weight gain or digestive discomfort. Another concern is uneven reheating. Because of the dense, breaded structure of fried items, it's common for the outer layer to overcook, while the inner portions stay cold or underheated. This uneven temperature not only affects taste, but raises food safety risks, particularly if the food contains meat, poultry, or seafood. Rather than freezing and reheating fried foods, enjoy them fresh and occasionally. If you love the texture of crisp golden meals, opt for oven-baked versions or use an air fryer to prepare a healthier alternative from scratch using whole ingredients. These methods reduce the need for excess oil while preserving flavor and crunch. Fried foods have their place, but not in the freezer. When it comes to supporting your health after 50, focus on meals that nourish and satisfy without dragging down your digestion or increasing your inflammation. You deserve meals that feel good, not just in the moment, but in the hours and days that follow. Frozen food number 5. You should never reheat. Soft cheeses and cream-based sauces. They may feel indulgent and comforting, but dishes made with soft cheeses or cream-based sauces quickly turn into a digestive and texture disaster once frozen and reheated. Think creamy pasta, cheesy casseroles, or rich sauces made with cream, milk, or soft cheese blends like ricotta, brie, or cream cheese. These meals often seem like great candidates for batch cooking, but the reality is they rarely survive the freeze-thaw-reheat cycle without losing safety, flavor, and nutritional value. When frozen, the water in these dairy-rich dishes separates from the fat, causing the texture to become gritty, watery, or curdled once reheated. The creamy, smooth consistency you loved when it was fresh is replaced by a broken, unappetizing mess that's neither satisfying nor nourishing. More importantly, these dishes are prone to uneven reheating, especially in the center, where bacteria can survive if not thoroughly heated. Creamy, protein-rich environments like those found in cheese and dairy-based sauces are ideal breeding grounds for bacteria such as Listeria or Salmonella if they've sat too long before freezing, or if they're thawed improperly. Seniors, whose immune systems are more sensitive, are especially vulnerable to these types of infections. Beyond safety, there's also the issue of digestion. Rich, creamy foods are already more difficult to digest for many older adults, particularly for those with lactose intolerance or slower bile production. Reheating from frozen can make these foods even harder to break down, leading to bloating, gas, or digestive upset that lingers long after the meal is over. Instead of freezing creamy, cheese-laden dishes, it's best to prepare them fresh in small, manageable portions. If you absolutely need to store leftovers, keep them in the refrigerator for no more than 1 day and reheat gently over the stove, not in the microwave, to better preserve the texture and reduce the risk of uneven heating. Alternatively, you can adapt recipes by using ingredients that freeze better, like coconut milk, broth-based sauces, or harder cheeses like Parmesan, which hold up better when reheated. Comfort food should make you feel comforted, not regretful. And when it comes to soft cheeses and cream-based meals, the safest and most satisfying approach is to enjoy them fresh and avoid the freezer altogether. Frozen food number 6. You should never reheat shellfish like shrimp, scallops, or mussels. Shellfish are delicate by nature, both in flavor and in how they respond to heat. When they're freshly prepared, they can be incredibly nutritious, offering lean protein, healthy fats, and important minerals like zinc and selenium. But once cooked, frozen, and reheated, shellfish like shrimp, scallops, or mussels become one of the riskiest foods to consume, especially for seniors. The main issue lies in both texture and safety. Shellfish proteins are highly sensitive to temperature changes. When you reheat them after freezing, the texture often turns rubbery, dry, or tough, making them not only unappetizing, but harder to chew and digest. For older adults with dental issues or slower digestion, this can lead to discomfort or even an upset stomach. But more importantly, improperly reheated shellfish can carry a high risk of bacterial contamination. If the shellfish wasn't cooled quickly or frozen properly after initial cooking, harmful bacteria such as Vibrio or Listeria can develop. And because shellfish spoil rapidly, even in the freezer, reheating doesn't always kill these pathogens. For seniors with weaker immune systems, consuming bad shellfish can trigger severe foodborne illness, with symptoms that may last longer and be more dangerous. Even when reheated thoroughly, the nutritional value of shellfish diminishes significantly. Omega-3 fats can degrade, and delicate minerals may be lost in the thawing and reheating process. What's left is often bland, dense protein that's far from the vibrant food it once was. If you enjoy shellfish, the best approach is to prepare only what you'll eat immediately. If you need convenience, use pre-cooked frozen shrimp or scallops that are designed to be reheated once, directly from frozen, not leftovers. And when in doubt, skip the reheat. Shellfish are best when enjoyed fresh, clean, flavorful, and safe. Frozen food number 7. You should never reheat potatoes cooked and frozen plain. Potatoes are a comfort food for many, filling, familiar, and versatile. But when it comes to freezing and reheating, especially in plain forms like boiled, mashed, or baked, potatoes can quietly become problematic, particularly for older adults. What seems like a harmless side dish can actually turn into a food that's unpleasant to eat and surprisingly hard on your digestive system. The issue begins with texture. When cooked potatoes are frozen and then reheated, the water content inside their starchy structure separates. This results in a grainy, gluey, or watery texture that feels off in the mouth and rarely tastes as good as it did fresh. Even more frustrating, the reheated potato often loses its warmth quickly and cools into a rubbery consistency that's neither enjoyable nor digestible. But texture isn't the only concern. Cooked potatoes, especially when cooled and stored improperly, can foster the growth of Clostridium botulinum, a dangerous bacteria that produces toxins capable of causing foodborne illness. This risk is heightened when potatoes are wrapped in foil, frozen, and then reheated slowly or unevenly, such as in a microwave. Seniors, whose bodies are less resilient to these toxins, face a higher risk of serious symptoms. On the nutritional side, the resistant starch that forms in cooled potatoes can be helpful in small amounts, but repeated freezing and reheating degrades these starches reducing the potential gut health benefits and leaving behind carbs that spike blood sugar more rapidly. This can be problematic for seniors managing diabetes or energy fluctuations. Instead of freezing plain potatoes, try freezing dishes where potatoes are part of a broader mix, like soups or stews where they're cushioned by broth and other ingredients. Or, prepare smaller batches fresh when possible. Potatoes are wonderful when enjoyed right, but they lose their charm and safety when stored and reheated the wrong way. Now that we've covered the frozen foods you should avoid reheating, meals that lose flavor, texture, or even pose health risks, it's time to look at the other side of the freezer door. Because while some foods don't take kindly to freezing, others thrive in it. When batch cooked properly, certain meals actually become more flavorful, more convenient, and more supportive of your health, especially as a senior. These aren't just about saving time. They're about making smart, nourishing choices easier to access when you need them most. Let's take a look at 4 types of meals you absolutely should cook in batches and freeze, because they reheat beautifully, preserve nutrients, and make your everyday eating safer, simpler, and more satisfying. Batch cook favorite number 1. Hearty vegetable-based soups and stews. Few meals are as comforting or as freezer-friendly as a well-made vegetable soup or stew. For seniors, these dishes offer the perfect combination of warmth, hydration, nutrients, and easy digestion. And when cooked in large batches and frozen properly, they reheat beautifully without losing flavor or nutrition, making them a go-to choice for convenient, nourishing meals anytime. Vegetable-based soups are ideal for batch cooking because their ingredients, carrots, celery, tomatoes, squash, beans, and greens, tend to hold their texture and integrity even after freezing. The broth acts as a protective barrier that keeps the vegetables tender and flavorful while also preserving the natural vitamins and minerals. More importantly, these soups often contain ingredients rich in fiber, antioxidants, and plant-based compounds that support immune health, lower inflammation, and promote better digestion, all of which are vital for seniors. Whether it's a minestrone with beans and whole grains, a simple lentil stew, or a tomato-based vegetable blend, each spoonful provides nourishment without heaviness. What makes soups and stews especially helpful is their versatility. You can easily adjust the seasonings, add a protein like chicken or chickpeas, or portion them out for single servings. Once frozen, they can go straight into a pot or microwave from frozen, making them safe and easy to reheat without worrying about overcooking or food safety. To make the most of your batch cooking, let the soup cool completely before freezing. Store in airtight containers with a little space at the top to allow for expansion. And label with the date. Most soups keep well in the freezer for up to 3 months. With a freezer stocked with nourishing, ready-to-eat vegetable soups, you're giving yourself access to comfort and convenience without sacrificing your health. It's one of the smartest batch cook habits you can build into your weekly or monthly routine. Batch cook favorite number 2, whole grain pilafs and legume blends. When it comes to freezer-friendly, nutrient-dense meals, whole grain and legume blends are an absolute standout, especially for seniors looking to boost energy, digestion, and long-term heart health. These dishes combine complex carbohydrates with plant-based protein and fiber, making them one of the most balanced and versatile options you can batch cook, freeze, and reheat without worry. Grains like brown rice, quinoa, farro, and barley, when paired with lentils, black beans, chickpeas, or split peas, hold up exceptionally well in the freezer. Unlike plain cooked rice or mushy vegetables, these blends maintain their texture and flavor after freezing and reheating. They don't break down or turn soggy the way more delicate foods do. Instead, they reheat evenly, with each grain and legume retaining its bite and body. What makes these meals ideal for seniors is their ability to regulate blood sugar, support gut health, and keep you feeling full longer without spiking energy or causing digestive discomfort. They're also packed with magnesium, potassium, iron, and plant compounds that help reduce inflammation and support brain health as you age. Best of all, they're endlessly adaptable. You can season a batch with Mediterranean herbs and olive oil, toss in some roasted vegetables, or add a spoonful of tahini or pesto for extra flavor and healthy fat. Once portioned into freezer-safe containers, these meals can be quickly defrosted and served as a main dish or a hearty side. To freeze, cool the grain-legume mixture fully, spread it into portioned containers, and store airtight. These dishes can last up to 3 months frozen and reheat easily in the microwave or on the stove with a splash of broth or water. A ready-to-go pilaf or grain bowl in your freezer isn't just convenient. It's a fast track to balanced nutrition and better digestion. And when made part of your regular routine, it becomes one of the most supportive food habits for aging with strength and ease. Batch cook favorite number 3, lean protein and veggie casseroles. A well-made casserole isn't just comfort food. It's a perfect example of a meal that freezes and reheats beautifully, retaining flavor, texture, and nutritional balance. For seniors, casseroles that combine lean protein, cooked vegetables, and wholesome grains or legumes offer a complete, satisfying meal that's easy to portion, easy to digest, and wonderfully freezer-friendly. When prepared thoughtfully, casseroles can provide all the key components of a nourishing plate in one dish. Think about a chicken and brown rice bake with broccoli and herbs, or a lentil and sweet potato shepherd's pie topped with mashed cauliflower. These meals provide steady energy, good protein for muscle support, and fiber to aid digestion, all in a soft, well-textured form that's gentle on aging digestive systems. Unlike fried or creamy foods that separate and become oily or mushy after freezing, lean protein casseroles hold their structure well, especially when made with cooked grains, hearty vegetables, and just enough moisture from broth or tomato sauce. The key is avoiding heavy cream or soft cheeses, and instead opting for flavorful herbs, a touch of olive oil, or small amounts of grated hard cheese for richness without breakdown. Casseroles also make excellent batch cook options because they're so easy to divide into single servings. After baking, let them cool completely, slice into portions, and freeze in individual containers. When you're ready to eat, simply reheat a portion in the oven or microwave until hot all the way through. No complicated prep needed. For seniors who want fewer decisions around mealtime without sacrificing nourishment, having pre-made, well-balanced casseroles in the freezer means you always have a satisfying meal just minutes away. It's a smart way to eat well, waste less, and stay strong. One hearty slice at a time. Batch cook favorite number 4, pureed or blended vegetable sauces. When you think about batch cooking, sauces might not be the first thing that comes to mind, but pureed vegetable-based sauces are one of the smartest freezer staples you can have on hand, especially for seniors. They're nutrient-dense, easy to digest, incredibly versatile, and reheat beautifully without losing flavor, texture, or value. These sauces, made from roasted or steamed vegetables like carrots, tomatoes, red peppers, squash, or zucchini, blend into smooth, creamy bases without the need for cream or butter. Add herbs, garlic, a drizzle of olive oil, and a splash of broth or lemon juice, and you've got a vibrant sauce that can be used in dozens of ways. Over whole grains, stirred into soups, poured over cooked fish or chicken, or even used as a dip for roasted veggies or crackers. For seniors, this kind of sauce provides a gentle, fiber-rich way to increase vegetable intake, especially for those with dental issues, reduced appetite, or difficulty chewing raw produce. Plus, they're packed with antioxidants like beta-carotene, lycopene, and vitamin C, all of which support immune health, skin vitality, and healthy aging. Blended sauces also reheat evenly and maintain their quality well in the freezer. Once prepared, let them cool fully, pour into small containers or freezer-safe jars, and freeze in portions that suit your needs. You can thaw them overnight in the fridge or warm them directly from frozen on the stove. Having a few different sauces ready to go transforms plain grains or proteins into flavorful, nourishing meals with almost no effort. And because you control the ingredients, you can skip added sugars, excess salt, or preservatives commonly found in store-bought options. In short, a stash of homemade vegetable sauces in your freezer is like having a toolbox for healthy eating, ready whenever you need a quick burst of flavor, fiber, and feel-good nutrition. Freezers are one of the greatest tools in a healthy kitchen, but only when used wisely. As we've seen in this video, not all frozen foods are created equal, and the decision to reheat something from the freezer isn't just about convenience. It's about protecting your digestion, your safety, and your long-term well-being, especially as you age. The 7 frozen foods we've discussed might seem harmless at first glance, but reheating them can lead to unwanted side effects, from nutrient loss and poor texture to real food safety concerns. For seniors whose bodies are more sensitive to digestive upset and foodborne illness, those risks matter. And the good news is, they're completely avoidable. On the flip side, by choosing the right meals to batch cook and freeze, like hearty vegetable soups, grain and legume blends, lean protein casseroles, and vibrant veggie sauces, you give yourself a freezer full of real nourishment. These aren't just time-saving options, they're health-saving habits that keep your plate balanced, your energy steady, and your body supported every single day. So the next time you're planning meals or stocking your freezer, think beyond what's quick. Think about what your body will thank you for tomorrow. Choose meals that freeze well, reheat safely, and nourish fully. If you found today's video helpful, give it a like, share it with a friend, and be sure to subscribe to Active Healthcare for more smart, senior-focused nutrition tips. We're here to help you simplify eating, strengthen your habits, and stay well, one good meal at a time.